When people think about eczema triggers, they often think about food, weather, or stress. But sometimes the root cause may be hiding in the very place where you spend most of your time, your workplace. Many people develop eczema seemingly out of nowhere in adulthood. And sometimes when you look closely, there was a major environmental change before the symptoms began. I once spoke with a young man who suddenly developed eczema on his hands for the first time in his life. At first, he simply told me, I work with oil. So I asked him more questions. Eventually, he explained that he worked with diesel oil. When I researched diesel exposure and skin contact, I found that diesel oil can irritate the skin and may pose other serious long-term health concerns with repeated exposure. What shocked him was that his eczema only started after starting his job. His body was trying to tell him something. Thankfully, he recognized the connection early and decided to leave the job before his health issues became even more serious. Another example is healthcare workers. I have a friend who works as a nurse and used to struggle with gut issues. Nowadays, she eats mostly organic whole foods and clean meats and fish. She avoids sugar and any processed foods. She genuinely tries to take good care of herself. Still, she continues to suffer from eczema. Healthcare environments can expose workers to many stressors at once, like constant stress, irregular schedules, lack of proper rest, frequent hand washing with antibacterial soaps, chemical cleaners, hand sanitizers, gloves, and other environmental irritants. Some people also notice inflammatory flare-ups after major immune stressors, injections, and medical events. Everybody is different, but it's important to listen to your body and observe patterns carefully. When the body stays in survival mode for too long, healing becomes difficult. The nervous system prioritizes survival over repair and healing. I also know someone who works in a hair salon and developed dry, irritated patches on her hands despite eating very clean. Hair salons expose workers to many chemicals daily, like hair dyes, bleaches, sprays, fragrances, and cleaning products. And then there are gloves. Even something as simple as gloves can become a problem for some people. When I volunteer at a food pantry, I have to wear latex gloves while handling food items. One day I worked extra hours while wearing them. By the time I got home, my hands were extremely irritated and itchy. The gloves trapped sweat and moisture against my skin for hours. It took my hand weeks to calm down again. Some people also work in older buildings with hidden mold problems. Mold exposure can trigger allergy-like reactions, inflammation, respiratory symptoms, and skin problems in certain individuals. And unfortunately, when people bring up concerns about environmental issues at work, they are sometimes dismissed or made to feel like they are imagining things. But your body is not stupid. Symptoms are communication. Sometimes eczema is not just a random skin problem. Sometimes it's the body signaling overload, chemical overload, stress overload, environmental overload, immune overload. This is why identifying your triggers is so important. And sometimes when we have to ask ourselves a difficult question. What do we value more, our health or our income? There's a saying, a healthy person has 1,000 dreams. A sick person only has one wish, to get healthy again. Illness can sometimes become a wake-up call, a sign that something in our life needs attention or change. Of course, if your workplace is willing to improve conditions and create a safer environment, that may absolutely be worth exploring. But ignoring warning signs from the body for years can sometimes lead to a much larger health problems later on. Your health matters, and your body deserves to be listened to. I'll be covering more possible root causes of eczema in my future videos. So if this resonates with you, feel free to follow along and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching and see you soon.